Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, otherwise known as the roller coaster capital of the world, has been beloved by coaster enthusiasts for years and years. Opening way back in 1870, the point has served guests for over 2.5 decades. However, Cedar Point did not used to have a massive presence in the roller coaster community. That was until the 1980s. Cedar Point debuted Magnum XL 200, the world's first full-circuit hypercoaster. After Magnum, the roller coaster wars began. Theme and amusement parks began trying to build the biggest and best roller coasters around. But Cedar Point wanted to stay on top. They built the first Giga Coaster with Millennium Force in the year 2000, and just 3 years later, the first Strata Coaster with Top Thrill Dragster in the year 2003. However, their next coaster would not be about size or speed. Instead, the manufacturer, Intamin, wanted to focus more on intensity and whippiness. This coaster would be a prototype Intamin Blitz, named Maverick. Maverick is genuinely a world-class roller coaster in my opinion, and it earns this title and status due to the extreme nature of the layout. So speaking of the layout, let's get straight into it. Maverick starts with an LSM launch lift hill, which starts out forceful, but it's really a dull moment in my opinion. But one moment that is definitely not a dull moment is the drop right after the lift hill. While I was at Cedar Point, I only managed to get back row rides on Maverick, which I'm not complaining about because it is definitely a kick element in the back row. Immediately following the beyond vertical drop, you just have a turn out of it, which is pretty intense, and then a few S-spins. And man, these S-spins are intense. They are seriously like some of the whippiest moments ever on a roller coaster. They're pretty insane. And then comes one of my favorite elements on Maverick, and that's going to be the insane ejector airtime hill. This thing is unlike anything else. You are just gone out of the train like that. It is crazy. But then we get to one of the weaker elements of Maverick, and that's going to be the horseshoe roll. It's 2 rolls back to back that's shaped like a horseshoe fairly. It's not a bad element, but it's kind of just one of the more lackluster ones. Then you have a turn in and under the station, which concludes the first half of the ride. You'll fly in under the station, and then you'll hit a set of brakes that bring you into a room with loud train sounds. You'll just kind of coast along the track, and then all of a sudden, you launch up to your max speed of 72, and it is crazy. You immediately get flung into this left-hand turn that is pretty jarring if you don't know that it's coming. Then you'll rise up into one of the downsides of Maverick, and that is the trim brake hill. You will slow down quite a bit on this, which is kind of needed, but it's still like a little frustrating. You're then going to make a downward right turn into what used to be the infamous Heartline roll, but is now just an S-bend. After that, you'll come into one of your 2 Stangle dives. These things essentially feel like you are just thrown, like, out of a car. It is that insane. It's like a lateral twist with also airtime. It's crazy. You'll then make a slight turn, and then you come into your second said Stangle dive, and it might just be more insane than the first. But then the ride is basically over. You have this speed hill, which actually does offer a decent pop of ejector, and then you have a right-hand turn, which concludes the ride, and you slam into the brakes. Now, the queue. I don't have much to say. It's really nice and covered most of it, but there are a portion of switchbacks that are not. So that's something to look out for. Now, the very last thing, the restraints. Many people don't like them, but I actually don't mind. They're the old gen Intamin restraints that were used on their thrill coasters, And some people find them restrictive, but I don't think they're that bad, especially compared to the nearby Steel Vengeance's restraints and just Rocky Mountain Construction restraints in general. They're not too good. So, overall, I think Maverick is just a genuinely great ride. It is definitely worth making the trip out to go to Cedar Point to ride it. Genuinely just world-class amazing. You wouldn't even notice, like, the other rides if this was the only thing you were able to do. You wouldn't even mind not getting on them. It's so good. So, for the final score, Maverick gets a 9.5 out of 10. I really hope you enjoyed this review. This is my first long form ever, and it took quite a while. So maybe if you're not already, you could consider subscribing or just liking. That's all. Thank you for watching.